All right. If you could explain the rules of basketball in the shortest way possible, how would you explain it?
Five players on each team, passing, dribbling the ball to score points and play defense with cooperation and teamwork.
Okay. What do you think is the most important rule and why?
The most important rule, I think, is dribbling the basketball. Because if you can't dribble the basketball, or with no dribbling in the game, then you can't pass, you can't shoot. So the defense is kind of based on the offense. So I think dribbling, being part of the offense, is the most important part of the game.
All right. How did you get started into basketball?
My grandfather and my dad were huge basketball fans. So I started watching basketball when I was a little kid, probably about 4 or 5, and I would play at the playground from the time I was 6. And the first time I played organized basketball, I think I was 9 or 10.
All right. What is your favorite thing about basketball?
The competition. I like to compete. I think basketball is a game that you don't have to necessarily be the fastest, strongest, quickest, jump the highest. But if you have good fundamentals, determination, and you play hard, you can still be successful.
Did you have an important coach in basketball?
An important coach. I guess my favorite coach and my coach that kind of changed was a guy named Sal Rizzo. Mr. Sal Rizzo, he's a legendary coach at East High School. I never played for him officially, but I went to his basketball camp the summer between 7th grade and 8th grade. And he was super upbeat, super nice, definitely had a great knowledge of the game. And he really gave me a lot of confidence and told me I was a good basketball player, and I kind of carried that with me into high school. I had a successful basketball career in high school and college.
All right. What do you know about the history in Rochester basketball? Do you know anything about the Rochester Royals?
I do know about the Rochester Royals. I actually have a program from 1946 1947 season, which was a long time before I was born or you were born. And the Rochester Royals won the championship that year. So me being a Rochester guy and a Rochester history guy, I've always had a fascination with the Royals. They were super competitive, made the playoffs every year before they moved to Cincinnati, I believe. And then from Cincinnati, they went to the Sacramento. So now, modern day, the Rochester Royals team is the Sacramento Kings. They went from Rochester to the Midwest, all the way to California.
All right. How did the basketball rules change since the olden times?
Oh, a lot of stuff changed. There was no shot clock back in the days. There was no 3-point line back in the days. You couldn't dunk a basketball back in the days. The original game by Dr. George Naismith, you know how now we have a rim and a net. It used to be a fruit basket. So every time someone scored a basket, they had a little hole in the bottom. You had to get a broom, take the broom, put the broom in the bottom of the basket to get the ball out for the other team to go back down the court. So a lot's changed in the last 100 years when it comes to basketball.
Did you play in high school or college?
I played in high school and college. And I played AAU, which is travel basketball. Yeah, I played a lot of basketball when I was younger. So.
Which high school in Rochester have the most successful, most teams in basketball? Or which are the most successful in high school?
I would have to say, in my brief history on this earth, in my 38 years, and kind of the stories I hear from the old timers, I guess consistently over the course of time, I would probably have to say East High School.
All right.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a Razor Sharks game?
I have. I've been to lots of Razor Sharks games. I'm Shawn Brown. I work at the Boys and Girls Club. And Melvin Council went to Wilson High School, and he works at the Boys and Girls Club. He actually plays for the Razor Sharks. So I try to go down and catch as many games as I can every season because one of my coworkers plays for him.
All right. Who are the most interesting players in the Razor Sharks?
I would say Melvin Council because I know him. This guy, James Mook Reeves, he's from Rochester, so I'll say him. And another dude, Demond Stewart, who I played against in high school. He went to Greece Olympia. I guess those would be my top 3.
And I got a couple more questions.
Okay.
How many championships did they win?
The Razor Sharks?
No, the Rochester
Were
Royals.
Royals? I think the Royals won one championship in 46, 47, and I think they lost in the championship either 44, 45 or 47, 48. So I think they won one in Rochester. When they were in Cincinnati, that's when Oscar Robinson, the Big O, played. I'm not sure if they won a championship in Cincinnati, and I know they haven't won any in Sacramento. So I think we won one in Rochester.
And were there any black players on the team at the time?
When the Rochester Royals were still in Rochester, there was no black players yet because the NBA hadn't been integrated. I don't think that happened until the 50s sometimes, late 50s, early 60s. But a cool thing is that our gym is named the Dick Ricketts Gym, and Dick Ricketts was an African American from Rochester, went to Duquesne University, played baseball and basketball at Duquesne. Then he played professional baseball and basketball. He played professional in the NBA for the Buffalo Bisons, and he played baseball for the Rochester Red Wings. So that gym's named after Dick Ricketts. So, and I think he started playing professionally, like I said, I think late 50s, early 60s. So I don't think the Rochester Royals in 46, 47, they definitely didn't have any black players yet.
Do you know where the stadium is?
Oh, that is a good question. The stadium, I think 46, 47 was the church. I think it's St. Cecilia's, St. Stylus, but it's the church on the corner of Clifford and Hudson. It's a church, but they used to play in the actual like church gym back in the days. And then I think they played in the Armory before they left town.
What was their strong suit in basketball?
Oh, back then, they had teamwork. There was no shot clock, so obviously teams would kind of like hold the ball. It was like not a lot of possessions per game. So instead of like now the NBA scores are like, in the 90s or the hundreds, back then scores were in the 40s or 50s. So the Royals had a couple good shooters. The guys weren't super big. Like the center was like 6'5", which now a center is like 7 feet. But they were known for passing the ball, their teamwork, and their cooperation.
All right.